Okay, so today we have a 2011 Dodge Ram 1500 4x4. Has a service four-wheel drive message, and the four-wheel drive is not working. Customer stated that he was driving, he felt like he hit a bad bump, and shortly after that the four-wheel drive stopped working. So we're going to connect a scanner to this thing. It's got 171,980 kilometers. We're going to connect a scanner to it and do a scan and see what codes are being reported. Okay, so we're going to start right from scratch with this thing. I have never scanned this vehicle before to my knowledge, so this will be a new record. It may automatically initialize and recognize the vehicle. I may have to specify that it is a Ram. Maybe the Ram didn't start that early as 2011. We'll see in a second. Oh yes, it did. Automatic ID. There it is. So let's do a code scan. It's always wise to do an entire network code scan if it's available. So we got a lost communication with transfer case control module, rear turn signal lamp, lost communication with transfer case control module, ECU recovery reset, driver's door. That could be due to a battery disconnect or something. Recirc door performance in the HVAC system. Some climate control issues. Electronic trailer brake manual lever performance problems. Radio satellite region mismatch. Remote start antenna circuit not connected. Okay, so the problem that we have is this loss of communication with the let's see, get it on here. Come on, you can do it. Now what's not noticed here is the four-wheel drive control module. Lost communication with transfer case module. So the central gateway and the ABS have flagged the code against communication with the transfer case module, which I believe is the TIPM. But we're going to try to communicate with it directly. Central gateway, I believe that's transfer case. Of course, it could be the drivetrain control module. Well, let's try central gateway. Codes. No. Let's go back. Let's try drivetrain control module. No communication. Now, is that the transfer case control module? I hate when the manufacturers change the name of things just to keep us on our toes. Well, let's see, what other modules we have? Engine, transmission, ABS, airbag, amplifier, central gateway, driver door, drivetrain control module, hands-free module, tire pressure. Nothing else listed, so that appears to be the drivetrain control module. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading and find out for sure if that's the case, and then we'll go from here. So I was right, the drivetrain control module controls the 4x4 transfer case shift functions via actuation of a shift motor utilizing feedback of a mode sensor assembly. Communication is handled through CAN bus. And I had a quick look at the CAN bus circuit, and it's like a star configuration, so it's on the same bus as the PCM and the transmission controls, so theoretically it wouldn't be a network problem. So let's look at a wiring diagram and see where the fuses for this module are. So the run start relay feeds power through a 20 amp fuse in the integrated power module, and a 30 amp fuse is power all the time. So we're going to have a look at those two fuses to start with. So all the fuses test good in the fuse panel. It's really hard to read the writing. It's gray on black. M15 and J11. J11 is one of the maxi fuses. So I found the drivetrain control modules under the passenger side of the dash, just behind the carpet, with a plastic cover over it. I've got power at connector 1, this pink and light green wire, but as far as I can tell, I've got no power on this circuit right here. This J11 fuse, 30 amp. I'm going to recheck that fuse because it's one of those ones with the plastic cap on it. It looks good, but I'm going to check it again. But I've got no power at this connector. I'll show you where that is. So this is where that module lives, right there under the dash. I got this zoomed in here. Let me zoom it back out and turn the light on. So that's the module. It's behind this little plastic cover, and ABC, this yellow wire with the orange trace, should have continuous battery power. That comes from that 30 amp fuse. So I'm back pinning it and I don't have anything there yet. This pink wire has power, as you can see. Where's my test light? So this wire here should be live. So I'm going to go back and check that fuse. Make sure that fuse is good. So here's the fuse panel, which is actually the TIPM, and J11 is, that's J22. J11 is that fuse right there. Hard to see. Focus, which is this 30 amp fuse right in here. Visually looks okay, but we're going to pull it out and check it. So that fuse is good. I took the fuse out, checked continuity through it. I have power through both sides of the fuse. So it's not reaching the drivetrain control module, so I could either put power there and see if it comes online and starts talking, or we could check at these connectors here. We have 3 connectors shown here in the schematic, C111, C130, and C123, all of which, being 100 series connectors, should be under the hood someplace. So we're going to find out where those connectors are and see which ones are easiest to access. Well, after much searching, I finally found where C111 is. It's in behind the battery, or by the battery, according to this. Let's try C130. And I had to go to service manuals, wiring diagrams. Come on, open up. And then chassis, and then transfer case, and new venture gear 243, and then connectors, and then C130 and 123. Let's try 123. 123 with a 5.7. I believe this is a 5.7. So that's over on the right side fender area. Well, that would be a nice spot to look. And then let's go back. How come I can't just go back? Jeez. Oh my God. Frustrating, this software sometimes. I tried to do a keyword search for it. I couldn't find it by keyword search. It kept saying doesn't exist. Okay, chassis. Transfer case. NV243, connectors, C130, location, standard, engine, standard, standard, dash, standard. I don't know what that means, standard. Oh well, let's try this one. Okay, so that one's in front, C130. I wonder if there's a connector view, connector detail, C130. Let's look at that one. There we go, that's what it looks like. Alright, that one should be right in front, and that should, C130 should be pin 4, fuse B+, in circuit 14. Well, let's see if we can find that one. So that one is right there. That's that connector right there. And the wire in question is this heavy yellow red wire. Let's see what it looks like on the other side of that connector. And that rad's hot. No, oh, wait, hang on. I think I see green death. I'll get a light here. Okay, I had to get a stool to stand on, but as I flip this connector over, that yellow red wire right there is the wire in question. And then I flipped it over this way, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but I don't know if you can see the green death coming out of that connector. See that wire right there? That wire has failed. Right there. Look at that. Now how would there get a pinhole in that wire right there? Wow. I've got the connector split apart, and there is the wire in question. Somebody's poked a hole in that wire, or at some point that insulation got compromised. Hopefully there's enough wire here we can fix it. So if you pull that secondary lock out of the face of this connector, you can depin this terminal. You can see I've taken it out, and the wire is corroded right through. I swear to God somebody's punched a hole in that wire insulation at some point in its life. So we're going to try and go back down here, and hopefully there's enough wire here we can splice in a piece. So obviously someone's been here before. They broke the latch mechanism on that connector. So I've secured the two halves together with a tie wrap. Should be fine. Now that connector is normally clipped to this fuse panel, and it wasn't clipped there either. So I'm going to try and put a tie wrap through there if I can get one in there and secure that. I've soldered and sealed the wires, but before we tie it up, we're going to make sure that we've got communication again. So I've got the key on, everything hooked back up again. We're going to see if we got communication. Still got no communication. Isn't that strange? Let's try engine. Make sure I got communication with the... Oh, I got no communication. Something's happened. So now the vehicle won't crank, and we've got a CAN C bus code, and as you can see, we've got no communication with the ECM. All I had was that connector apart. I think the CAN bus goes through there, the CAN C bus goes through there. So let's engine, no communication. And transmission, I bet you no communication. So let's disconnect the battery, reconnect the battery, and see if that will reset the CAN bus. So I just did an all system DTC clear, and it communicated with 16 controllers and cleared the codes. So let's try to talk to the drivetrain control module. Data. So we got data out of the drivetrain control module now. Let's try the engine. We got engine data now. Let's do another code scan. Before we did this, and I only got 7 controllers. Should be like 13, 14. Door module, drivetrain control module, hands-free module. Still not picking up the engine. Security seed response not received from ECM. Remote start antenna, we had that before. So we still got no communication with the ECM. I just had data from the ECM. Engine. Codes. No codes present. Well, let's see if it'll start. Well, that's strange. It runs now. It seems like having that connector disconnected interrupted the CAN bus and locked up some controllers, so I had to disconnect the battery to get it to reset and then clear all the codes. We got engine data now. We got data from the drivetrain control module. The four-wheel drive works now. No more warning messages on the dash. Let's try this one more time in that drivetrain control module. Data. Yeah, we've got a data list, so that's working fine. Let's see if there's any codes in the drivetrain control module. No codes present. So I'm going to manipulate that connector while it's running to see if there's anything wrong with that CAN bus. I'm going to look at that connector also to see if the CAN bus circuit goes through that connector. I believe it does. Yes, it does go through that connector. D64, D65 is the circuit number, is 27 and 28. So it does go through that connector. 27 and 28, so it's the outside edge of that connector. So I'm going to have another look at the opposite side. So no more messages on the dash. Four-wheel drive seems to work. Oh, we got a turn signal lamp out message. Maybe we should check that. Four-wheel drive seems to work now. Back to auto four-wheel drive and back to two-wheel drive. Well, we'll check the turn signal light while we're here.